News Radio 840 WHAS coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. What do you do with the bugs living in your Christmas tree? It's not just happening in New Jersey. There are drones flying over Louisville homes. What can you do about it? And 11 holiday mistakes that could bring a burglar to your front door. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler team, Remax Properties East, and we're in our holiday mode. Both Christmas, happy and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa. And this is the Sunday before Christmas. Then a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. So we want to welcome to the show and thank you for being here, you guys. In addition to those of you listening till the top of the hour, we've got Cora Henderson. Cora is one of the head folks over at Pitt and Frank Attorneys, LLC. They do a great job of getting your loan closed. In fact, I just was over there for a closing this past Thursday. You can reach Cora and her group at 895-9900. Also here, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. They come in as a team because they work as a team, which gets the job done thoroughly. They are the number 9. They're 9 years in a row. They're the number 1 home team inspection service in the country, which is, well, I don't want to jinx it, but I think we're going for 10.
We're going for 10.
When does that come out, by the way?
We'll know here in a few weeks.
All right.
End of the year. We'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they do a great job. You can hire, obviously, the closing attorney. You can hire an inspector that you want. I recommend both Pitt and Frank Attorneys and also Home Team Inspection Service and also Team Bug Out, which is also owned by Brad. And they do a great job of getting rid of any pests. And we have a question, as you already heard, about pests.
Yeah, and those mice are not still. They are invading homes right now, Bob. I wish they would just take a night off, but
we need to talk about that. Well, let's get to the first couple of questions, and then we'll jump in. And by the way, if you want to reach Brad and his folks, either Home Team or Team Bug Out, 844-411-TEAM. And if you're thinking of selling your home or buying a home, I'd love to be able to help you. There's no home too big, no home too small. And I work not only in Louisville and surrounding counties in Kentucky, but in Southern Indiana as well, and we also have a team. But it's me when I come out to talk about selling your home. It's free, no obligation. Call me anytime, 376-5483. That's my cell. You can call it today even. Or you can go to bobsellslouisville.com, all one word, fill out the form, hit submit, and I'll get back to you. And if you want a free instant analysis of what your home is worth, it's a computer that's doing this, but it's a start. You can go to wesellouisville.com, and at the top of the website page, either on your phone or on a computer, click on find out what your home is worth. Okay. We're starting with kind of a personal thing. We've talked about this on the air. This is both actually for Cora and Brad. And so here's the story on the personal side. My wife, LaDonna, owns a condo in Florida. It's rented out. She was just notified by the renter that the condo above hers had a leak. This sounds familiar, right? We've talked about this problem on the air in the past, but now it's happening to my wife, who I love and care about, and I don't like to see her having to go through stress. Well, the management company that LaDonna is working with did the repairs, and now we found out it's just leaking again. So the plumber, whoever fixed it, didn't do a good job. But the ceiling leak was shoddy. The work to repair it was shoddy. It looked terrible from what I understand from LaDonna. The renter, I guess, sent her pictures. Apparently, whoever did the repair spilled paint, splattered everywhere, and it looks bad. So what recourse is where I start with you, Cora. What recourse does LaDonna or anybody who has a condo or even a house where repair is made but not up to the standards of what it should be? Thoughts?
Right. I mean, so here I think she has to go back to the HOA. So she needs to go to the condo association and complain. And if she is welcome to call the contractor herself, although they were contracted by, the condo association.
Or the management company.
Actually, That's correct. Yeah, the management company. Yeah. And certainly, if the management company goes nowhere, then contact the actual representatives of the HOA. And they may, kind of pawn that back off on the management company. But nonetheless, I'm not sure why this contractor was hired, but if they need to get another one in or, with the initial contractor, surely they would be reputable enough to either have insurance, for a lack of an appropriate job or perhaps even maybe some warranties that may transfer. But I think I love the old adage, squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I think that you just have to show them that this is unacceptable. It certainly goes to the future marketability and saleability. But, the last thing you want to do is to be kicked back, enjoying this Christmas season, watching a good Hallmark movie and look up to the ceiling and see those stains like that. That is unacceptable.
Yeah.
I know everyone's rushed, particularly in Florida with all the recent hazards they've had and the acts of God and the hurricanes and whatnot. I know that, we don't have a lot of access to qualified professionals. They're kind of stretched thin with so much work to do, but that doesn't excuse it. So again, squeaky wheel gets the grease. I would really stay on top of the management company, and don't be afraid, again, to engage those representatives on the HOA to say, hey, look, you all selected and voted on this management company. If they're not doing their jobs, that needs to be discussed. So stay on top of it, and hopefully that will be rectified after the new year.
And then this goes to Brad on standards. When anybody has a repair done, and you would hope it's going to be a professional level. And Brad, when your people are inspecting homes for resale or being bought, you're seeing these types of inferior repairs, I presume.
Yeah, we are. And I think one of the challenges that you have is once you have a water leak, if the water leak is not repaired correctly, you're going to have evidence of that damage come back quickly. If it's not, if for instance, the water is not, the line, continues to leak, it's going to eventually bleed through. If they haven't removed all of the wet materials, the water damage is going to end up bleeding through whatever paint they put over top of it. So for anybody who's in that situation, monitor the area even after the repair, because you want to make sure that it was done right and it was done well, because that water damage can linger for a long, long time if not repaired correctly right up front.
Well, what about mold? Yeah, hang one sec, Corey. We'll get back to you in a sec. Well, what about potential mold problems for anybody who's had a water leak now or in the future? Yeah.
So keep in mind that mold has to have three things to grow, right? It has to have a substrate that it likes living on, a food source, if you will. It has to have a temperature that you like, and mold likes the same temperature we like, so you can't do really anything about that. The third thing it needs is moisture. So if you remove the moisture, mold can't grow. But if the moisture stays there, then you're going to continue to have mold growing, and it will, just continue to grow until the food source or that substrate is removed. And typically that's, drywall or insulation or, even wood that it can live on.
Corey, you had a comment?
Yeah, I would just say that's an excellent point. I think you need to kind of bifurcate those two items. One, of course, is the aesthetics. If the paint's everywhere and it just wasn't smoothed over very well, from the ceiling and the paint and the drywall patching or whatever the case may be. But I think more importantly is exactly what Brad touched on, and that is, did the actual repair, was that done appropriately? So the leak has to have been stopped, or it will continue to leak, again, thereby possibly creating a mold situation. So, you could also reach out to the adjoining unit owner above you just to make sure from their perspective, they're not seeing anything from a continued water leak. They may have better eyes or different eyes, and just try to get some different pictures, because that's the number one thing. That has to be repaired correctly. The second one is cosmetic. It's aesthetic, but, again, it should have been done appropriately. But big difference there as far as what you may suffer as a result.
We want to remind you, if you hear something you like or want to hear more about or listen to again, easy for you to do. We have a redirect here. Go to www.louisvilleanswers.com. That will take you to our YouTube channel where this show resides, not only the audio but video as well. And a reminder, if you'd like to see what our sellers and buyers are saying about us, we would love for you to visit LouisvilleGoogle.com or LouisvilleZillow.com. We made it easy. You click there, they'll take you right to our area of reviews, LouisvilleZillow.com, LouisvilleGoogle.com. Brad, Kayla has a question. A lot of people may have right now, as we get ready for Christmas. She has a live Christmas tree in her house. She saw bugs in her living room, and she's thinking that they may have come from the Christmas tree. So she's wondering, what should she do now? And maybe after she disposes of the tree after Christmas, what does she do about whatever might be left behind in the way of bugs?
Okay. Well, so the good news is that if there are bugs coming in on the trees, they are probably going to just be what we would call an occasional invader. They may be a box elder bug. It might be an Asian lady beetle. It might be a stink bug. All of those, none of those are going to take up residence in your home. They have to have a tree as a source to live on. So good news is you can just vacuum those guys up. That's the best way to deal with them. In fact, it's funny. I just as I'm talking about this, I've just got a ladybug that flew into a lamp across the room from me. Sorry, like red ball here. But those are the common insects that we're seeing on those trees. If they've been, we've had a little bit of freezing temperatures out there, so a lot of the insects were destroyed, when those trees kind of froze here a few weeks ago. But if they got them early, and there's still some living in there. The bigger problem that we've seen are people bringing those outdoor plants inside now, and so they're getting what they call the fungus gnats, those little bitty gnats that are flying around the house. Some of those are coming from little, Christmas cactuses that have been purchased, at the local, grocery store or home improvement store, or people bringing plants in from outside that are bringing those gnats in. That's, goes back to some of those little light traps, that we've talked about. Those are working really well. I know a lot of people are big believers in, a little bit of vinegar in a bowl that works as well. So, but good news is they're not going to take up residence, and they will go away and be gone for the rest of the winter.
Reassuring. Very good.
Yes.
Thank you, Brad. Back over to Cora Henderson at Pitt and Frank Attorneys LLC. So we're hearing about this on the news. Drones, New Jersey. If you're listening to the news, you know what I'm talking about. Well, David bought a home that is not terribly far from the airport and lives in Louisville. And in the email, he says he has a real problem with drones flying over his house, not just one, but several around his property. He's a bit concerned about people spying on him, and he's wondering, what doesn't he have control over the airspace over him? And also he wonders, can he shoot the drone down, and could he face any criminal action? Cora, let's go to you for an answer on this.
Great questions. All great questions. Yeah, I think I saw a teaser on the news. It was like, if you think that that's a shooting star in the sky, think again. That could be a drone and the lights on it. So, who knows? Oh, it's a beautiful twinkling star. No, it's a drone. So first of all, I wouldn't shoot anything, because you certainly don't know what it could be. And there could be, significant risks associated with that. Moreover, a lot of the subdivisions and everything, you're not allowed to shoot a firearm anyway in the backyard. So there could be multiple, exposures and liabilities there that I would never, encourage that type of rash action. As for the legalities of that, it depends. I mean, at this point, we're speculating as to whom that may belong. And so is it military? Is that something that the federal law and the government, would have control over? Or is this recreational? Because there's a big, big difference. Certainly if that's a nosy neighbor, or maybe even a kid flying a recreational drone, which they make them pretty fancy these days, and maybe they got a gift for Christmas, there could be some legitimate privacy concerns and, some legalities that would protect that homeowner and their airspace. So, we would just need to unpack a bit more facts of what that looks like. But when it's in the dark, you probably don't have those. So you could try to capture that maybe on your phone, take some videos and whatnot, maybe ask around some neighbors, check out your community's Facebook page. And certainly you had mentioned airport, maybe even contact the airport and ask them, if they've got another phone call, so that we can gather more information, so we can appropriately give advice as to whom they should be calling and what rights he does have for that.
Yeah, so you could contact the FAA. There's a local office in the Louisville area. But under no circumstances do you want to shoot down a drone, or what you think is a drone, or something. Because if you say you're near the airport, my gosh, that's a recipe for a disaster with putting a bullet into a plane, if it's a plane flying over. So, yeah, don't do that. Yeah. Call FAA.
Keep in mind, everything that goes up must come down. So a bullet fired in the air has to come down. So,
absolutely. Yes, that's quite dangerous.
Yeah.
And, as a Christmas story would say, don't shoot your eye out.
That's right.
We're going to take a break.
Even with
BB guns. When we come back, 11 holiday mistakes that could bring burglars to your door. A reminder, if you are thinking of selling your home, we have a free no obligation booklet that has hundreds of useful tips. You want a copy? Easy. Send me an email, bob@WeSellLouisville.com. Put selling tips in the subject line. I'll send it out to you. Also, we have a free no obligation analysis of what a home inspection involves, courtesy of Brad Lawler and Home Team Inspection. And you, again, email me, bob@WeSellLouisville.com, put inspection in the subject line, and I will send that out to you as well. Speaking of Brad will continue with us from Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. You can reach them to get your home inspected, whether it's new or resale, and also to get rid of those pesky critters that could be left behind by your Christmas tree. You can reach Brad at 844-411-TEAM. Also, you can pick the closing attorney that you want. Nobody's better than Cora Henderson and Pitt and Frank Attorneys, LLC. You can reach them at 895-9900. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the near future, like next year or a year beyond, hey, I would love to be able to help you. Call me for a free, no obligation visit. It's me. I come out, we talk. We can do it by phone if you want as well, or Zoom, but I'll be more than happy to come to see you, to talk to you about it. We come up with a plan. No home too big, no home too small. Prices all over the board. We do with all of it. All you need to do is call me, 376-5483, or go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form, and hit submit. And then for a free, no obligation analysis of what your home is worth, go to WeSellLouisville.com and click at the top of the page. We are back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you till the top of the hour. Thanks for sticking with us. And thank you, Barbara Corcoran, a mentor, a friend, and just a great person. You can see her on Shark Tank and also reruns over at CNBC. Staying with us till the top of the hour, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. They come in as a team. They do the job, and they do it well. And also, he owns Team Bug Out. You can reach him for an inspection or for bug service at 844-411-TEAM. Also continuing with us, Cora Henderson, one of the head big shots over at Pitt and Frank Attorneys, LLC. They do a great job of getting your loan closed. You can reach Cora and her team at 895-9900. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or buying a home in the near future, please don't hesitate. Give me a call. I'd love to help you. No home too big, no home too small. And I've worked not only in Louisville, surrounding areas, but also southern Indiana. You can reach me at 376-5483 or go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form, hit submit. And for free, no obligation analysis of what your home is worth right now, go to WeSellLouisville.com. It's computerized, and it will come to you within a matter of a moment. All right. You got holiday decorations up? Okay. Could you be attracting burglars to your door? So here are some mistakes that many of us make and maybe we shouldn't be doing. So it may be too late this year, but think about this. If you've got a Christmas tree in the window, well, okay, you're actually telling a burglar that you're going to have presents there as well, expensive gifts potentially. So you might want to think about next year moving the Christmas tree out of the sight of the window and burglars. Also, if you're unloading packages to put into boxes or bags, and you're in plain sight of a burglar, that's a real problem. You don't know who's watching. You don't want to make your home look empty. So if you're going away for the holidays, maybe you're leaving today or tomorrow, you don't want to leave an empty driveway. So maybe ask a neighbor to park a car in the driveway. Also, you might want to ask someone to collect your mail or let the post office know you're not going to be home. If it snows, ask someone to shovel your walk so at least it looks like someone's home. If you are getting a mail delivery, not many people do these days, but if you do, don't leave a note for the mailman or whoever might be delivering a package. Hey, I'm not home. Don't leave the note. Don't leave the package here. Burglars read too. And then putting packages on the curb, that is a real problem. Figuring out where to put a key for a neighbor in the event of someone needs to get into your house. Don't hide a key to your front door. Burglars know our hiding spots. Under a rock, behind a flower pot. You need to come up with a better plan for putting your key. Maybe one of those key locks might be worth it, and putting it in an obscure place. Also, lock your windows. Don't run electrical cords through windows and doors to light items, because that's a clear way that a burglar is going to be able to open because they're not locking. And then asking uninvited visitors to your home if someone comes caroling. Not to say anything against carolers, but let's make sure they're carolers. You never know who might be wearing those beautiful little costumes with a nice little voice. It could be somebody you don't want in your home. Those are some of the tips. Hopefully you will have a safe Christmas in the next couple of days, and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. All right, we go back over to Brad Lawler, Home Team Inspection Service. Emily listens to us every week, and she says in this email, she heard us talk about odors coming from the kitchen sink. Yeah, we actually talked about that recently, and yeah. But she says she has an odor that you might expect, but unfortunately she can't find a source. And it's coming from her bathroom, and it's the odor you might think, but doesn't have any clue where it's coming from and why. And she flushes the toilet, she says, so the trap in the toilet is filled. Brad, thoughts? Yeah.
Well, There's a few other things. I mean, yes, any of those traps need to be filled with water. So if you have a bathroom that is not used very often, run the bathtub, run the shower in it. Get those traps refilled. The sinks that are in there, you need to get those filled up. If you have a basement type of bathroom that might have a floor drain in there, put a little water, down that floor drain as well. All of those areas need to be filled with water in order to cap off any of the gases, the odors that are coming up out of the sewers. And it's a common smell. It does happen, and usually dry traps is the culprit in those cases.
What if it's not a dry trap? Because the impression I got from the email was she's done all this stuff, but the odor still persists.
So beyond that, there's just not a lot of other places that you're going to have the odors come in from. I've seen very few instances of sinks that have the overflow hole in them. You'll get those, and I've seen just a couple of times where those areas just haven't had any water through them at all, and for whatever reason, the way that the sink is set up is that it will create a pocket that does get stinky there. Beyond that, yeah, usually the bathtubs are the ones that people just don't think about. It's just in a couple people live in the house. It's just a bathroom that's not used that often, and yeah, the toilets are flush, but it's the tubs, it's the sinks in those rooms that aren't. Beyond that, yeah, I don't know if there's a whole lot of other things unless they've got say a dead mouse that has died in a wall somewhere that's a different kind of smell, but that's a smell that only lasts for about 3 or 4 days and then disappears as the mouse dries up. But that's another smell that we're picking up these days.
No kidding. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that a reminder, you can see a rebroadcast of this show, actually see it, not only hear it, LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. And a reminder as well that you can see what sellers say about our Sokoler team by going to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. That's LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. Cora Henderson, Pitt and Frank Attorneys. Alex called and said he had a serious problem with his house. He called me on the phone this past week. He said he had a company remove the gutters and replace them with new gutters. He hired them, at least. They took the old gutters off, but never replaced them with new ones. He hasn't heard from the company he hired, and then it rained heavily, as we have had this past week, and the house flooded. He's wondering what's his next steps. Legal action if he could find the contractor he
absolutely
hired? Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've seen similar scenarios of that and contractor abandonment, so to speak. So certainly stay on top of them. I hope that some due diligence was done beforehand just to further validate the reputation and the quality of that professional, whether you're looking online, looking at Google reviews, which is always an excellent source of information of vetting out certain folks. And hopefully maybe they were just on a winter break vacation, but when you get a hold of them, they need to make it right. And that's why they have insurance or should have insurance. In the event that doesn't happen, they're not willing to make it right. Maybe you can't track them down. Maybe they've run off with your money. You most certainly need to speak to a legal professional about what your courses of action could be and getting that demand taken care of. So you should certainly be made whole. I mean, that sounds like, an absolute nightmare, but I've heard of it. I've just had a scenario about a month ago where it was a roofer. It was out in Oldham County where they had suffered some little bit of storm damage, and they put a tarp on coming back the next day, and the tarp wasn't properly secured, and whoops, came right in and flooded and ruined their entire kitchen.
Let's help everybody. So vetting the contractor, social media reviews. You could also go to the Better Business Bureau and do a search on their website for the name of the company. That's at least part of it. Ask for referrals, and then also try to get referrals on your own. More than just the ones that the contractor hands out, because you don't know where those referrals are coming
Absolutely.
from.
And Bob, in all seriousness, I have found that my real estate agent contacts have been a great source for referrals for contractors, because you all in your line of business, you know all the good and the bad. I mean, you deal with repairs just about every time, you buy or sell a home. And so you see the good work, you see the bad work, you know who to recommend and who not to recommend. And so I have always found that my real estate professionals are an excellent source of vetting out businesses.
Yep. And feel free to reach out to me I've got clients who contact me all the time asking for referrals for different venues, and we're happy to help. And if I don't have somebody, Brad Lawler has one, which brings us to Brad for this last question. So a guy named Brad, another one, there's more than one, sent us an email about something that he saw in social media. He says, is it true spraying WD-40 in your toilet can help clean your toilet? He says, it sounds to me like this is a story planted by the manufacturer, WD-40, to help sell more cans. Brad, any truth to this?
Well, here's what I'd say, Brad. Why don't you go ahead and try it in your own toilet and let us know what the results are? I can't imagine spraying WD-40 in my toilet because now I'm going to have to put a degreaser in there to get the WD-40 out. It might look shiny for a moment, but yeah, I haven't seen that one, but that's not what I'm ready to try at home.
No, and that's not the intended use of the product either. So from a product's liability standpoint, that's not what it's for. And so we have to make sure that we're using something that's safe for those plumbing pipes that it's about to go through.
Yes. Well, I don't know that it'll do damage, right, Brad? It's not going to do damage to the pipes.
Probably not, but I appreciate the attorney's perspective on this too. Use it for what its intended purpose. Right.
Very good. And so Brad, you've heard it from Brad and Cora. Don't do it unless you have to try it, because people are, TikTok and all the other social media out there. It's wonderful for entertainment, but do you take it seriously?
What did all of our moms say? If your friend jumped off the bridge, would you jump too?
Yeah, well, there you go. It's true. All right.
Mom's always right.
Mom is always right. We are out of time, and so are wives, by the way. Just to put that out there. Yeah. Our thanks to Cora Henderson, who's one of the big shots over at Pitt and Frank Attorneys LLC. You can pick the closing attorney you want. She's great. Her teams are great over there. 895-9900. And not only do they do closings, they do other things like wills as well. And I highly suggest 895-9900. Also, our thanks to Brad Lawler, Home Team Inspection Service, 844-411-TEAM. You can call the same number for Team Bug Out if you got some pests you need to get rid of, the crawly type. Again, 844-411-TEAM. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future or buying a home, I would so much love to help you as we enter 2025. You can reach me, no home too big, no home too small, and I work in Louisville and Southern Indiana. You can reach me on my cell phone, even today, 376-5483, or go to bobsellslouisville.com. Fill out the form, hit submit, and for that free, no obligation analysis of what your home is worth, that's a computer, instantly, you can go to WeSellLouisville.com and click on the top of the page. We're out of time, but again, hopefully for everybody, a safe, Merry Christmas, a wonderful, if you are celebrating Hanukkah, a wonderful Hanukkah, also Kwanzaa, and from our radio family and our individual families to all of you who are listening, we wish you the very best. We'll see you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.